I'm Jimi Disu. Good morning.
We're streaming live. The show is live on Facebook and on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3. You can search for that, Nigeria Info 99.3, and you will be able to watch it, drop your comments, share the live links to your communities on social media, and let's all engage together. Let's start with the punching paper, page 7 this morning. DSS warns of another possible Kwara attack. OPC declares emergency.
Well. What a way to start. We thought we should start with this because of the importance that it carries. The DSS has issued a security alert again to Kwara, and they've warned of a possible attack on the Babe community in Baruten local government. And of course, the alert comes days after the last attack that we had. A copy of the letter signed by the State Director of DSS in Kwara, DS Adams, was addressed to the Commissioner of Police amid rising insecurity across the Kwara North axis. And it says that the report indicates a possible threat of attack by armed group on Babe community. This statement is from the build-up of armed men suspected to be Mamuda elements around the Kioru settlement. Even as the villagers have expressed hostility towards the elements. Anyway, that's what it is. That's the story from the DSS. The one thing though, if it's now that this much public knowledge, the letter has been made public and so on and so forth, I think other areas need to be careful because these people, some of them live amongst us, and would have had the information that this signal has been issued, or maybe it's just a means of stopping it from happening in the very first instance. But we thought it was worth it to put everybody on full alert that such a thing is likely to happen.
Yes, indeed. Let's go to our next story in the Punch newspaper. This story is on page 2. In fact, we have two stories here. Electoral Act Amendment, opposition protest as senators back manual results transmission.
Oh, by now, everybody who is interested in this story would have had a fair idea of what went on yesterday. And the Punch reports it as the Senate bowing to public pressure and approving the electronic transmission of election results to the INEC IREV while permitting manual collation to serve as a backup where technology fails. And that is where the matter is. Some people don't want any manual backup because they believe there could be sabotage. And of course, the manual, gives rise to all kinds of games and so on and so forth. Anyway, yesterday was decision followed an emergency consideration of a disputed clause in the Electoral Act. After days of nationwide outrage, street protests, and so on and so forth. The upper chamber stopped short of making electronic transmission compulsory and rejected calls for the explicit inclusion of real-time upload of results, a key demand by protesters which accused lawmakers of attempting to weaken electoral safeguards and ahead of the 2027 general election. Look, let me be honest with you. When laws are put together, it is expected to be practiced. All these laws are expected to be practiced by sane men with good intention. Laws are just supposed to be guidelines. I think the bottom line is that what is not so much what has taken place here, but it's a warning to the politicians that rigging will take place, yes, but it might not be as the opposition or whatever it is might not allow this to happen in such a brazen manner as it happened yesterday. Then something struck me when when I saw videos of the protesters yesterday. I discovered that the protesters were talking mainly to the police. They were talking to the police and telling them, they were addressing them and telling them and trying to mobilize the police. It's something to be observed. And in the past, in other countries, we have had members of the armed forces at some point and the police join the protesters. So they were talking to the conscience of the police, and what the police did which was also significant for me in the videos that I saw, was to turn their back on the protesters, meaning they wanted to pretend not to hear what was going on, and you couldn't see the reaction on their faces. The politicians do have to be very, very careful this time around. Very, very careful. It appears as if people are actually ready for them. But whether, as usual, as my friend Mr. Quadry would say, he doesn't think it will amount to much. But let's wait and see.
Yes, indeed. Let's wait and see. We have another story here. On the same page of the Punch newspaper, U.S. deploys 200 troops to Nigeria.
They come in small bits. They're coming in bit by bit. It's an unfolding drama. The security situation in Nigeria, and I don't think anybody can predict in which direction it's going to go. But at least for your knowledge, know that the U.S. has deployed, and I'm one of those who believe that the U.S. is not deploying its army to come and save anybody here. There's an intention that is beneficial to them, which is legitimate. Look, the world is like an operating theater. You go, it's like a game. You understand? So you must know what you want to get from any situation that is handed down to you. So it's an unfolding drama, but there are 200 troops, and what they're going to do is to train the country's military in the fight against Islamist militants. And I wonder what kind of training. I don't think the Nigerian army needs training as such. I don't think there's a deficiency in training. I think there's a deficiency in motivation. I don't think it's an issue of training, to be honest with you. I think we have fine soldiers, we have fine men in the military, but they're badly motivated. Like all of us. And the gap between the leaders and the led is widening every day. But don't let's veer from that. It's too early in the morning to start going into a long discussion.
Well, you know that the U.S. government has appealed, or they've applied for permission to have a drone refueling station in Nigeria.
Yeah, they're going to apply for everything. They're going to have bases. They're going to have, and it's for their own good use. I have nothing with it. There are things that we can also benefit, but nobody should be putting some propaganda ahead of it to say they are here to save you. They're here. They're not here to. They're not going to lose their lives just to save you. If you can't get to act together, so be it.
Let's take another story. Page 16. Tinubu formally nominates Daikingiri as ambassador.
This is the most embarrassing situation I've ever had as an adult. Do you know what happened here? This gentleman, Usman Dangiri, was the one who was posted to Turkey as an ambassador. At the 99th hour, it occurred to them that he hadn't gone through Senate screening. So you ask yourself, was the man ever consulted? Did he himself ask questions? Was he ever consulted? Now, I imagine myself being the president. I'm sworn in, and I have there are some very important countries, and I want to appoint ambassadors to them. I'm going to have a discussion with every one of them.
Exactly.
I will invite them. I could spread it over 2 days. You come at 10, you come at 12, you come at 3, have lunch with me, have dinner with me. You rub your minds, you get a feel of all these are things that should have happened. Now, if that has happened, and they say, okay, Dangiri, all his other ambassador nominees have gone for clearance. He hasn't gone. And nothing was said. I think somebody owes us an explanation of this very embarrassing situation that reflects complete incompetence. Honestly. We are a laughing stock even to the Turkish or to the Turks. Because apparently, 2 days to the president's trip or 3 days to the maybe they had forwarded his name. And then when the president arrived, and of course maybe didn't arrive with him, they wonder what happened. They have their eyes here. They say, oh, he hadn't gone for Senate. What kind of people are these? It is most embarrassing. So now, 2 weeks after his earlier nomination was withdrawn, he was now sent to the Senate. A letter was sent to the Senate yesterday to go and do his bow and go, because that they didn't. People were not screened, effectively as far as I'm concerned. It was all bow and go, bow and go, bow and go, and he'll go and get that done and then race down to Turkey to resume as ambassador if he's accepted. It's a monumental failure, completely embarrassing. If I had a managing director running my company like that, fine, immediately. I don't even think twice. No query, nothing. Let him just go. What do you think happened here?
I mean, if you want an example on how a country is being, why the country is the way it is.
Yes, this is it. I don't know how it ever happened. And I know for sure that Turkey, minus the president's visit, is one of the major countries that the president should be interested in.
Yes, indeed.
I'd be surprised if Turkey is not amongst the first 10.
I'll be surprised too.
Or is it that some of these people don't even know the president? They haven't met him, they don't know.
Oh, it's very, very likely. Absolutely, very, very. To be honest, I don't even think that they must know him or they need to know
him. No, when
him.
I say know him, I mean they haven't met him. He hasn't discussed nothing.
Yeah, so I don't think that they should, or it's a must that they must have met him before being appointed. You get what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is, I agree completely with you that if you're going to send people to some countries,
yes,
you must meet with them.
You don't meet with them.
And it's not an option.
Yes.
Because these people are representing you.
Yes.
You must meet with them.
Even before you appoint them, you set a day aside.
You meet with them.
Yes. And say, look, I'd like to, if you're following, for example, what is happening in the UK on this Jeffrey Epstein, whatever, that guy who was the ambassador to, you'll see that the Prime Minister said he lied to me.
Exactly.
He met him. Sheriff, what administrative structure are we running in this country? This is a bad signal.
It is
very bad. And so, if the president went to look for foreign investors and so on in Turkey, so the Turkish people will not know that this happened, and they won't be saying to themselves, "You better be careful with these guys." They can't organize themselves. Very, very embarrassing.
Yes, it is.
In fact, if I were, well, don't let me say, but if I were the ambassador designate, I won't take up the job again. Go and embarrass myself. Very, very embarrassing.
Let's go to another really interesting development or story. It's an editorial in the Trust. Power grid failure, national embarrassment.
It's very.
Take now.
I'm trying to figure out in my head who made this kind of error. And in one editorial we read, nobody has been sacked. Nobody is owning up for the error. Well, you all know about power grid failure. I mean, it's come on repeatedly, almost to the point that could it be sabotage? I don't believe that the inefficiency in our system could have gotten so bad that you keep having the grid packing up almost every 4 days.
Yeah. The same way our corruption situation is bad.
It's very bad.
It's the same way anything can go this
bad. Very bad.
Like anything can go this bad in Nigeria.
Before January 2026 before the end of January 2026, the national electricity grid had collapsed twice in 1 month, plunging major cities into darkness and reinforcing concerns about the country's failing power infrastructure. This disturbing reoccurrence, now almost routine, underscores a deepening crisis in the power sector and raises uncomfortable questions about planning, which is also reflected in this area of planning, accountability, and the value Nigerians are getting from years of massive public investment. The down the line, the Daily Trust says that the repeated grid failures highlight deep-rooted structural and operational weaknesses in the transmission network. Also in governance. With this example that you have there, also, this government always changes its mind. Every it's policy decision make 3 days later. No, we are not doing that again. That is what is being sold here. Manufacturers, micro, small, and medium enterprises and investors bear the brunt of these failures. The Lagos Chamber of Commerce has warned that, based on recent trends and without urgent structural interventions, Nigeria could experience tens of grid collapses in 2026 under a business-as-usual scenario. That is a frightening projection for the economy already under strain. We have not held, to the best of my knowledge. I don't think we've been holding anybody responsible for these things.
I don't think so.
To the best of my knowledge. What makes the situation even more troubling is the scale of public spending, with little to show for it. I also remind you about the Port Harcourt refinery. After spending billions of dollars, then the MD now says, "Oh, we cannot run it." I mean, what come on? Since the privatization of the power sector in 2013, the federal government is estimated to have spent over 7 trillion in an effort to improve electricity supply. Yet Nigeria remains far from achieving regular and steady supply. Instead, the country continues to battle with the same problems that existed before privatization, from grid collapses and load shedding to inadequate investment and slow expansion of transmission infrastructure. At the Daily Trust, we consider the constant collapse of the national grid an embarrassment. I think it's more than that. Not just to the power sector, but to the country as a whole. More worrying is the perception that lasting solutions are not being urgently pursued, with authorities appearing more comfortable downplaying each incident rather than confronting the underlying causes head on. Investors watching from within and without the country cannot be encouraged by a system that fails repeatedly without clear evidence of reform. Our president hops on the plane at the slightest opportunity. He wants to go look for foreign investment and so on and so forth. But to take care of what is on ground, that will even bring them in the first instance, is not done. It's very, very sad.
It is sad. We're live on Facebook. We're also streaming on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3 is how you can watch us live on Facebook and on YouTube. Let's go to the page 13 of the Trust newspaper. Article: Makinde visits IBB, ex-VP 6 backing for ADC.
Article is at it again. This must be his 7th or 8th time. And I wonder, at 80, anyway, there's no harm in trying. It's reported that he held a closed-door meeting with Babangida for more than 2 hours. And I wonder what Babangida told him. He won't tell him that, look, Nigeria needs a new beginning. We need something fresh. You think he won't tell him that?
I don't know.
He said that the visit was aimed at seeking Babangida's support for the ADC. Well, Makinde was also said to have consulted the president on his reported plan, listen to the sentence, Sheriff, to join the party. Which party? Is Babangida part of the ADC?
Because my question, I was going to ask, what do they go there to go and do? To take permission to be the president of Nigeria, or to lay down their plans? In either, what's the why?
Well, I'm sorry to,
because it's every time.
I'm sorry to say this, and I'm not being arrogant or being insulting, but Nigerians don't exhibit deep thinking. They don't. Somebody will tell you, "Oh, it's part of the consultations nationwide," but let's be honest with ourselves. How much influence will Babangida have now since he left? In reality,
good question.
How much can Babangida help anybody in becoming the president? Do you understand what I'm saying? So, but they'll say, oh, it's part of consult. And the problem with Nigeria is that we always like doing the same thing repeatedly, but expect different results.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if Atiku means well for this country, it's about time he packed it in and brought in all these years in politics. It should have groomed 3, 4, 5 people, young people, to take over. That's how countries are run. And nobody should come and tell me that Trump is also in the same age. This is not America. Look at what is happening. If we had a younger president, if we had the likes of O.C. Tatidoka, all these young, well-trained people, we won't be having very embarrassing situations like having an ambassador designate that has not gone for clearance. You won't have. It's very unlikely you have it if you had younger people. Very, very unlikely, who are well versed in management. That's why I say that a man who is not fit to run a multinational should not be allowed to run this country. If you can't run a multinational, how can you run the whole country? How can you? The embarrassment we get from this government, partly because whether you like it or not, our president is aged. And I don't know about his work experience. He might be a master politician, yes, but where it comes to management, it's almost zero. We should tell ourselves the truth. So my advice to Atiku is, for God's sake, Nigeria needs sacrifice from everybody. It's not compulsory that you should be the president at 80.
Indeed.
To go through another 4 years, you'll be 84.
And he will want to do another 4 years.
And he'll then want to do another 4 years. This is not Cameroon, with due respect.
But again, I'd like to know why they all go there.
We are complicit.
I would love to know.
If by now I would have expected, and the youth of this country are also complicit. They are always ready to play second fiddle.
What is the significance?
Most of them, they're ready. If you see what most of them are saying in the social media, you check. There was one that insulted me, even insulted me physically. He said, just because I am against Tinubu, he talked about my eyesight. I looked at him and I shook my head. We are trying to save the situation for people like this. How much are they going to give him?
Probably will get nothing, actually.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes. It's terrible. And just this morning, I was telling a very close friend of mine that this job I'm doing, if not for the money that he puts in my pocket, I won't bother myself again. I'm telling you the truth. Gani Fawemi, look at all he did when he presented himself for president. What did he get? I mean, let me go there. They'll come back and do the job with me. I'll be a happier man.
I mean, look, I'm just going to say this, then we'll move on.
You want to say it only once?
Just once. Because we have tolerated bad habits.
We have.
Insane things, and we call it the norm. Why do you think someone who is vying to be the president of the country should pay homage? Or people, all of them, they all go there, whether they would get their party nomination or to pay homage to somebody. Are they going to, will that person make them the president of the country? Is it a function of that person to make them the president of the country? Or you, who is speaking that person as the president of the country? So it shows where the allegiance of that person will lie, because in their minds, if they had not gone there, they probably wouldn't have won the election. So Nigerians need to start thinking again. Look, remember one interview with Mamdani, the New York mayor, about after elections, where will you go first? And the gentleman said, I'm not going anywhere. The other contestant said they will go to Israel. And he said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay here in New York City and take care of the people that voted for me. No, it's simple logic.
We look, I'm sorry to go personal, but truth must be told. Look at the opportunity that was given to us 3 years ago. Look at the options that we had. Look at what we chose, and look at where we are. And if care is not taken, we are going to repeat the same mistake again. It's clear to everybody the competence level of those who want to aspire
we
to
keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. We normalize some things
and put up we can put up the most bizarre excuses ever. Look, even in the areas or even in traditional rulers everywhere now, the whole country is in a mess. It looks as if Nigerians don't even have people of quality. Is it not time not up?
No, time is not up yet. We have about a minute. So, thankfully, this is something that we can just...
What's this?
Nimet predicts early rainfall, urges delay in...
Please, there's prediction that there'll be early rainfall. Yeah, yesterday I heard the coastal road was soaked up. Thank God I wasn't on the road. The logistics, the information here is long. I'll find time to read it out so that I can tell you what are the specific highlights of the Nimet report. And on that note,
and the rains, I don't know why the rain started so early this year.
Well, it's a blessing from the gods. It would help our farming and whatever.
I hope so. That's our show this morning. Well, you're back with the Agony Day at 9 o'clock, right? Okay. Lagos, thank you for being a part of the show. We're glad that you were able to join us. You can watch again if you missed any part of it. You can watch it over again on Facebook and on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3. Kofi Battels makes a return with the concluding part of the Morning Cross Fire.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.